I'm Coach Amy, Precision Nutrition Certified Nutrition Coach with Results Fitness, and the recipe I have for you today are peanut butter baked chocolate donuts. So that one was a mouthful. This one contains a few more ingredients than you typically see with some of my recipes, so I have my cheat sheet today. You're going to need 1 cup of oat flour, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, a half teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of either coconut oil or butter that has been melted. I'm using coconut oil today. 1/4 cup of maple syrup, a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt, a 1/4 cup of milk. I'm going to be using unsweetened vanilla almond milk, or you can use whatever milk you prefer. A teaspoon of vanilla and 1 egg. And I need to grab my maple syrup, so 1 second. As soon as I read that, I was like, oh shoot, I forgot the syrup. Okay. So these donuts are made with oats, are the base, so they're replacing flour. We're using some Greek yogurt, adding a little bit of protein to them. And once they cool, I'm going to show you how to make like a peanut butter frosting to add on top of them, because what better combo is there than chocolate and peanut butter? There isn't. It's the best. All right, so you're also going to need a donut pan. So this is very similar to a cupcake pan, but it's just shaped to make donuts. And they come in, cupcakes usually 12. This is 6. Amazon, few dollars. It's a great tool to have. All right, so to get started, I'm going to start with a small mixing bowl. And in there, I'm going to add my oat flour first. Now, when it comes to oat flour, you can purchase oat flour, or the simpler, easier, and much more money-saving way to do oat flour is just take oats and toss them in a blender or a food processor, pulse them for a few seconds until it's a flour consistency, and you have oat flour. So I'm going to add the 1 cup of oat flour in there. And then to that, I'm also going to add the cocoa powder, the baking soda, and the salt. So I have my cocoa powder, and I used the extra dark cocoa powder. I love that. That's one of my favorites. So if you could find the special dark, it's delicious if you like dark chocolate. All right, so I have my baking soda. I'm gonna add the salt. I feel like I'm a surgeon here holding my breath trying to pour just this teeny tiny little bit. All right, and then I'm gonna whisk this together to incorporate all of it. All right. And you could kind of tell once it's all mixed in, it's pretty uniform in color. Once that cocoa powder is mixed in, you're gonna get like a brown flour mixture. All right, and then from there, I'm going to take my large mixing bowl. I'm going to add my 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. I already melted this. I just tossed it in the microwave for about a minute and a half, and it was perfect. All right, like I said, I have to use my cheat sheet with this one because it's a lot more ingredients than the norm. All right, 1/4 cup of maple syrup. And while, one of my main goals is to, keep recipes to a minimum with, the amount of ingredients. You want to keep it simple. But sometimes I find with the items that are baked or items that are oatmeal baked, like they always take, more than a handful of ingredients, which is fine. It's just a little bit more extra labor in there. All right, so next up, we have the Greek yogurt and the milk. So again, 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of milk. Again, the unsweetened almond. All right. And then I'm going to whisk this together. And you just kind of want to whisk it until the Greek yogurt is smooth. So when you first whisk it with the the milk, it's going to be a little clumpy. So just want to whisk it until it's a little smooth and you get the big chunks out. All right, and then from there, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla and 1 egg. All right, and I'm just going to whisk that again to break up the egg, get that all mixed in. All right. That is everything. I'm doing a quick run through since I forgot the syrup. I want to make sure I got all the ingredients in here. All right, and then I'm just going to add the oat mixture to that with the oats and the cocoa powder. All right, and I'm gonna mix it good. It's just gonna be like a, just like a cake batter. So that's pretty much the consistency you can expect. Now I will say this, after you mix this together, you do wanna let it sit for about 5 minutes, just so the oats can absorb the liquid. If it looks a little too thin, just let it sit, and I promise you that those oats will absorb up any excess liquid. So I have this all mixed in. I'm gonna let it sit for 5 minutes, and then after it sits for a few, I'm gonna stir it again just to make sure to, incorporate any excess liquid and whatnot. Then I'm gonna fill each of these about 3/4 of the way full, and I'm going to bake them for about 25 to 30 minutes, depending on your oven. It may take a little less, a little bit longer. You can tell once you press on them if they're a little bit springy, just like you would check a cake. That's how you know they're done. So once those are done, I am going to set them aside to cool. You want them to be completely cooled before you add the peanut butter frosting to it so the frosting doesn't melt. So I'm going to go bake those. I'm gonna let them cool, and I'll be right back, so hang tight. All right, I am back with the chocolate donuts. That recipe made 6. So I went ahead and I popped them out, I let them cool, and because I'm super impatient and I really wanted to eat these, I threw them in the freezer for a few minutes. So these are all cooled and ready to go. Next up, we're gonna make the peanut butter frosting. So I'm using, this is the PB Fit brand of peanut butter powder. If you're not familiar with peanut butter powder, it's basically defatted peanuts. So they squeeze all the fat out of peanuts and they turn it into a powder. You can add this to smoothies, you could add it to yogurt, you could add water to it and make like a peanut butter sauce. So great product to have. It also contains protein, so win-win. I added about a 1/4 cup to the bowl and then a few tablespoons of warm water. So the warm water really helps make it a little bit drizzlier, if that's a word, drizzlier. So you could see it's just kind of, a little bit thin, not quite thick like peanut butter consistency. And I'm just gonna take this and drizzle it over the donuts. If you want to get fancy, you could also dip them. I have tried that a number of times, and I somehow always manage to drop them in the bowl. So I'm just going to do the drizzle. And the other thing about this peanut butter powder, if you don't quite get it to the right consistency, that's okay. Maybe you added too much water and it's too runny. All you have to do is add a little bit more powder. If it's too thick, add a little bit more water. So, just adjust as needed. And if you end up making way too much, which I've done a number of times, you could just pop it in the refrigerator and use it for another time. So it will stay in the refrigerator. All right. All right, so these are all drizzled with the peanut butter and you are all set. So quick and healthy treat, if you're craving a donut, you just want something a little bit healthier once in a while, always a good option. Again, you get that chocolate and peanut butter combo, which is the absolute best. So as always, enjoy. I hope you enjoy the recipe. If you try it out, let me know what you think. Feedback is always valued. And as always, have a fantastic day and I will see you soon.